Chapter 23. Flight to the Americas. Hagrid threw open the door to the hangar.
"There she is," pronounced. "Vinny."
"Oh, my stars!" Ambrose exclaimed, shaking his head in wonder. Standing proudly in the centre of the otherwise almost empty hangar was an old aeroplane. It was a biplane. A lower wing sprouted from the underside of the fuselage, an upper wing seemingly held up by wooden spokes and held down by wire rigging. The wings were covered in painted canvas. The blunt-nosed body was made of plywood near the front and canvas towards the rear. It had two engines between the wings, one on either side of the fuselage. These were connected to huge wooden propellers with curved blades. There appeared to be an open cockpit on top, near the front of the fuselage. "That is, if I am not mistaken," Ambrose breathed, "an actual Vickers Vimy."
"That's right,"
Hagrid confirmed. "This is similar to the first aircraft ever to fly non-stop across the Atlantic," Ambrose explained to Lydia, "though this looks to be the later commercial variant."
"We have few improvements,"
Hagrid claimed proudly.
"Hagrid, old friend,"
called an old wizard in overalls, emerging from around the far side of the plane. He was short for a human, but too tall for a house elf, which he resembled due to his near-bald head and the large tufts of white hair sticking out of his ears.
"Everyone, this is Pelicus Treadle,"
Hagrid introduced him.
"He runs the Vinny service."
Pelicus shook hands with Hagrid. There was a sickening crunch, and the old wizard hopped back, clutching his right hand to his chest.
Sorry, I'm really sorry, Pelicus,"
Hagrid apologised.
"Don't know my own strength sometimes."
"Not to worry, Hagrid." The old man drew his wand out with his left hand, waved it over his injured right, and they heard a soft click. He tentatively flexed his fingers.
"They're all better again,"
he assured them, if a little tremulously.
"I'm more breakable these days, but I've got used to putting it all back together again."
"Mr. Treadle," said Harry, stepping forwards. "I'm Harry Potter, head of the Aurors office."
"I'm aware of that, Ed Snoop. Hagrid has informed me that you need to travel to Salem, Massachusetts in the Americas."
"Yes, please," Harry confirmed, looking around at the rest of the party. "But there will be 4 of us."
Not a problem. "I won't be travelling," Hagrid told him. "But we know that after last time."
"Quite so, dear Hagrid. Once was quite enough, if not more than enough." Pelicus turned towards Harry. "There's plenty of room once you get inside. Up the steps and through the door." Below the pilot's cockpit and slightly behind, they could see a smartly varnished set of wooden steps, leading to a doorway in the side of the fuselage. "And we need to get there quite quickly," Harry added.
"Oh, yes,"
Pelicus nodded.
"About 40 minutes in all. 35 at the full moon, but yes, about 40.
"How soon can we leave?" Ron asked.
"Ready for you right now,"
Pelicus smiled.
"Please, climb in and we'll be away."
"Are we all right with the chicken?" Lydia asked, stepping forward with the chicken in her arms.
"Has she flown before?"
Pelicus inquired.
"I'm not sure,"
Lydia admitted.
"But she is a bird." "Of course she is. What am I thinking?"
They went to the steps and took turns climbing up and through the doorway into the belly of the ancient aircraft. Lydia looked around open-mouthed as she clambered inside. They had entered a spacious room, something like an old gentleman's club, or the library of a stately home. Around the room were large winged armchairs, upholstered in buttoned red leather, with small tables for refreshments beside them. Shelves of books surrounded them, with a set of portable steps to reach the higher levels. A chandelier with oil lamps hung from the centre of an ornate ceiling rose. Other lamps had been placed at intervals around the walls. The warm light from all the lamps was cast in pools across the deep pile of a sumptuous carpet. The burning lamp oil lent a comforting smell to the atmosphere. The luxury was welcome after the long drive in the sherry boom. "Well, I suppose I should have expected a reasonable amount of space," Ambrose admitted. "But I'm rather taken with the decor."
"I'm glad you like it,"
Pelicus smiled, following them into the room and shutting the door.
It's my dear departed wife's work. She stole it from a fancy house near that London.
Pelicus turned around into an alcove next to the door. He tapped the side of the alcove with his wand, and a ladder descended from above.
Help yourself to tea and biscuits, he said. There's a small kitchen at the rear.
Pointed across the room to a door opposite.
I'm sorry my dear departed wife is no longer here to serve drinks, but you know how it is. She departed with a younger, less breakable man.
He climbed the ladder up to what was presumably the cockpit.
No seatbelts or anything, Lydia mused, looking around.
One can merely hope that magic will suffice, Ambrose told her. Aero engines roared into life and rapidly settled to a soothing drone. The passengers took to their seats and waited for the aircraft to move off.
This is your captain speaking, came Pelicus's voice,
as clear as if he was standing in the room with them.
Will we be cruising up in the air, which is where we are now, and we will land in several hours before we set off, because of timescales or zones or some such nonsense. I've still never got the hang of it. But it's America, so none of it makes much sense to me. I hope you have better luck. Enjoy your flight.
They settled into their chairs. Ron went to the kitchen.
Tea, everyone? He called.
They all called their assent.
Pock, pock,
said the chicken, craning its neck to look at the shelves around them. Over tea and biscuits, which the chicken shared happily, they discussed their plans for when they arrived in the States. I have the address of a house we can use, Harry informed them. It's a sort of safe house for magical people. Strictly speaking, it belongs to the MBI, the Magical Bureau of Investigations, but I'm hoping it's not being used. I'd like to keep our visit secret. We don't know where Aloria might have contacts. Most likely place for her to be, said Ron. In fact, the only place we can think of is Beverly University. She had a job there before she came to Hogwarts as Professor Lee. Actually, I suppose it was Lee who worked at Beverly University. Maybe they don't know about Aloria. Anyway, if whoever she is isn't there, I'm hoping that someone who knows her would be able to give us a lead. Do we know how to get into the university yet? Harry asked. Not yet, Ron sighed. I've asked Sarson to make some discreet inquiries. We have a pair of replicating scrolls, so he'll write to me if he comes up with anything. We'll have to go there and see what we can find. Sometimes, Harry explained, addressing Ambrose and Lydia, you can sort of feel what magic is needed. It's a technique we develop as auras. If they haven't been careful to cover their tracks, we can, Ron expanded. I reckon we can get into the university, but as for getting to Aloria, I bet she's covered her tracks. We'll see, Harry frowned. They drank their tea, ate biscuits, and talked more. Before they were expecting it, their pilot made another announcement. I'm coming down for a minute, said Pelicus's voice. Brace yourselves. They had barely had time to look at each other before the old man had slid down the ladder in the alcove. He had removed his overalls and was wearing a collared shirt with a waistcoat, black ankle boots, and faded pink long johns. Sorry, he said. I like to fly by the seat of me pants. Is there anything wrong? Ron asked. No, it's the strangest thing. We've been underway less than 30 minutes, and we're there already. Never known anything like it. Where are we exactly? Harry asked. On a private runway near Massachusetts in the Americas. I arranged with a friend to send a car for you, to take you to Salem. He hasn't arrived yet, but he won't be long. So, thank you for taking the Vimy. I hope you enjoyed your flight. They made their way to the door by which they had boarded. Somehow the same set of polished steps was there, leading down to a runway. Here's a token, Harry, said the pilot, handing him a coin. Break it in half when you need a flight home. Just allow an hour or two for me to get here. I might be in the bath. Harry thanked him for his help and wished him a good flight home. He descended the ladder to find the others standing beside the longest car he had ever seen. Oh, Harry, Pelicus called, hanging upside down from a hatchway under the fuselage. Could you please obliviate the airfield manager as you leave? Saves me a job.